South African Weather Service has warned of disruptive rain and thunderstorms in parts of KwaZulu-Natal. The flood-prone province has experienced severe weather conditions in recent years. Ndabezinhle, Sibiya spokesperson for the KZN Human Settlements Department, joins us to discuss the province's preparedness and measures in place to safeguard residents during this period. Ndabezinhle, appreciate your time. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Now, what specific measures has the KZN Human Settlements Department implemented in anticipation of the heavy rainfall predicted this week?
Well, thank you very much, for the opportunity. First and foremost, let me apologize on behalf of the MEC for Transport and Human Settlements, Bonso Duma. He's currently attending a funeral. We can just indicate that, look, we are in constant interaction with the SA Weather Services, and we appreciate the type of information that they keep on giving us so that we are ready for any, disaster. We can indicate that, there is an ongoing interaction with municipalities across the province to ensure that, if we experience any flooding, at least we are able to move in, with speed to assist the affected communities. You'll recall that a couple of weeks ago, we had Elimination and Prevention of Re-Emergency of Slums Act, a debate in the provincial legislature, where the MEC Sponsor Duma presented, a very clear plan in terms of, the rollout of human settlements in various parts of, the province, especially, in flood-prone areas. And I think that report, indicated that we are moving with speed to acquire land. As you know that in the past, we've been experiencing problems in terms of moving communities that are living in flood-prone areas, moving them away to a land that is suitable to build. I think that aspect of our work, we are making progress, and that is the report that the MEC presented. In addition, we can indicate that here in eThekwini, we are liaising with the eThekwini municipality, the human settlement unit in the municipality, to ensure that we are able to respond with a sense of urgency to to assess the affected communities. But in the main, the call that the MEC Sponsor Duma has been making is that there are communities that are living in flood lying areas. That is why he had a meeting, for instance, with Inkosi Mqoqi, where Inkosi Mqoqi offered a land around Umzinyathi, so that some of the communities that are living in flood lying areas are moved to such a suitable land. And the department, working with the municipality, will be moving in to build bulk to build bulk infrastructure, so that building starts as a matter of urgency.
Now, one of the key challenges, I'd imagine, is getting individuals that are quite familiar with where they're living to move to another area, even if there are threats of an imminent flood. Has this been a challenge for you, and how have you dealt with it, if so?
Well, it's been a challenge. As you know that, the current government, the message that MEC has been communicating more often is that we are dealing with the sad past. You know that at some stage we had what you call Group Areas Act, we had what you called the Influx Control Act, where people were actually restricted in terms of movement, to various parts of the province and the country. That is why you have communities that are living in areas that are underdeveloped, where there is no bulk infrastructure, where the land is not suitable to build. That is why there are these ongoing interactions with the traditional leaders, because around eThekwini, for instance, we've got land. We've got land that is available. We are purchasing that land, and we are also focusing on the social housing program, where there are buildings, in the city center, in Pietermaritzburg and other, secondary cities. And the MEC is saying such buildings must be used as part of social, housing program. And the MEC last week, through the HOD, we received, a confirmation from the national government, thanks to the President, His Excellency Cyril Ramaphosa, was here in the province a couple of months ago, for the support. The letter that has been received through the HOD is that there's 100 million that is going to be allocated to KwaZulu-Natal, reallocated from provinces that are underperforming. The money that is going to be allocated to KwaZulu-Natal, 100 million, will be used to deal with the backlog in terms of the provision of human settlements. Now there are people who are moving into city centers looking for job opportunities. That is why the MEC is strengthening the what you call the rural housing development program, working with His Majesty in Lulamite, Isilo Mrs. Ulgazwelitini. You recall that the MEC had that historic meeting with Isilo, where the Isilo provided guidance in terms of how to ensure that the land under Ingonyama Trust is also utilized to build houses, for the people working with Amakosi. That is why the MEC, whenever there is a program to build houses, his first point of entry is Amakosi in deep rural areas. So we want to prevent the movement of people from deep rural areas to urban areas, and we're also focusing on working with other government departments to deal with rural, economic development, so that there's an integrated approach. In one part, we need to build roads so that there's access to economic centers for people living in rural areas, so that those that want to invest in deep rural areas, they must find roads that are in an acceptable condition. So there's that integrated approach that MEC Sponsor Duma is emphasizing.
Ndabezinhle, you certainly paint a picture of the Human Settlements Department being on top of the situation. You've had the floods of 2023 to deal with as an example, or as a learning curve, if you will. So let's talk about working with other departments. I mean, this is not work that you are going to do alone as Human Settlements. Just how prepared are the other departments that you're likely to work with for this impending disaster and any other disasters that may occur?
It's a very good question that you are asking. When the president was in the province a couple of months ago, he had a meeting with, the provincial executive, council, that is your provincial cabinet. And his message was very clear. The national government is supporting KwaZulu-Natal. And he then emphasized, the rollout of infrastructure as part of, job creation, and as well as part of rebuilding KwaZulu-Natal. As you know that we coming from an era characterized by the outbreak of COVID-19 as well as the floods. So that is why we are working in an integrated fashion. When we talk about economic development, the Department of Transport must build roads. When you talk about rural development, the Department of Transport must build roads. When you talk about Department of Agriculture, in terms of food security and everything that is linked to the production of agricultural products, the Department of Transport must play a role. When you talk about human settlements, the two departments, human settlements and the transport, have been merged purely because we need to build roads. As we build roads, we must also ensure that we have sufficient road networks where people live. People must live in places where they can also work. That is why there is that integrated approach involving all spheres of government, working with the National Treasury. The 100 million that has been reallocated to KwaZulu-Natal is a classic example of that integrated approach, also steeped in what you call the district development model, as well as Operation Sukumasake. The MEC Sponsor Duma is the champion of Operation Sukumasake in Umgungundlovu district municipality. That is why he has that constant interaction with the mayors there, so that if there is any disaster, the department must be able to move in, working with all other government departments.
Well, final thoughts before we let you go. Now, what steps are being taken to inform and prepare communities, especially those in low-lying areas or that are in flood-prone areas?
Well, there are disaster management committees, as well as Department of COGTA, that is responsible for those early warning systems. But as the Department of Human Settlements and Transport, we are also proactive. That is why earlier on in our opening remarks, we expressed our appreciation to SA Weather Services, because they've got a direct line to MEC Sponsor Duma. If there is any, disaster that is predicted or projected, we are able to activate our teams. You recall that the MEC was on the ground dealing with the snow in the Midlands. He worked flat out the whole night, clearing the snow, working with teams. So that is why even when it comes to human settlement, there is that collaborative approach, working with the SA Weather Services, the national government, COGTA at national level, at provincial level, so that, we are not, caught napping, we are ready for any eventuality. But more importantly, working with Amakosi so that at least, they are not left behind, as they play a very important role in terms of ensuring social cohesion.